So welcome back, dear listeners, to another episode of my podcast. And today we have a special treat for you. So I think he's a brilliant mind man, airsofter who are looking not only for the development of content, but also contributing to the whole community industry, let's say, and the ecosystem. Really surprised and big honor to me to introduce you, Christoph from the Novritsch. Hi, Christoph.
Thanks, Dan, for having me.
For those who may be watching us the first time, can you say a little bit about yourself? Who's Christoph in other life, out of the airsoft, maybe?
Okay, good. So my name is Christoph. I run the company Novritsch. Some of you may have heard of it. The company started as a YouTube channel, which I started when I was, I think, 20 years old, 19 years old. I made sniper gameplay videos. I put a big camera on top of a sniper rifle, and I made one of the first sniper rifle gameplay videos on YouTube. And that got it started. Because no one did it back then, the channel grew to quite a size. And from there, I started making products because I wasn't that happy with what's on the market, especially when it came to sniper rifle. So I basically flew to Asia, while I'm from Austria, actually, so I'm not Asian. I think maybe people can tell. But yeah, I flew to Asia, which is where this stuff is being manufactured. Consulted with factories and created, basically transferred knowledge from a social media brand, from me basically as a person, as an influencer, to a product brand. And yeah, ever since, I think that's now 7 years ago, we launched our first sniper rifle, the DSG 24, and ever since we just started creating products.
And so how did you first get into the airsoft playing?
I think very similar to most people. There's these little local markets where they sell these very, very cheap Springer pistols. And my friends and I just bought them and started shooting each other.
That is also so.
Yeah. I think it's a very similar story to how it is for most people. We were wearing skiing goggles for eye protection. We just shot each other. Then the first guy bought an electric-powered airsoft gun. Obviously, we couldn't compete, so we had to buy electric-powered airsoft guns. And yeah. Then we did discover the community. Because when we started this, we didn't even know that there's an airsoft community. YouTube back then, airsoft content on YouTube did not really exist yet, or not how we know it today. So yeah, it was very interesting to then find out about the airsoft community. We in our jogging pants and skiing goggles and a very, very cheap AEG that you had to use batteries, Duracell batteries to power them. And we met these people and they had, everything from helmets to night vision and mole vests and proper AEGs.
They're looking like a real professional.
Exactly. Yeah, we looked like we already played since 2 years, but we looked like a rental player. I was 14. I had zero money for this kind of stuff.
I can see now that the same way was, I think, for each airsoft player, that he just started from the spring, and now so the guys who are just made the whole way, and now they're looking like a pro or real, let's say, military guys, and they just started the way to develop in such kind of.
I hope that's changing, actually. I hope because that pass, I think, is full of road bumps and obstacles. And I think many people who start like this maybe never even discover the airsoft community. So I think nowadays it's much easier. At least in Austria, in Austria, the US, many countries that I've played in, you just go to a field, they give you everything you need, and you have an actual airsoft experience. You're not trying to invent your own game with your friends. So I think that changed, actually. You can start airsoft much easier nowadays.
And as I know, this is your first visit to Kazakhstan.
Yes.
Yeah, and how your impressions about the Kazakhstan and the community, because so yesterday was a game, and maybe just share with us what you think about it.
So I heard a lot about Kazakhstan, mainly because my girlfriend is from Kazakhstan. So she obviously kept talking about it, of the beautiful landscape, also about the history of it, the nomad lifestyle and all of this. So I was super curious to come here and to finally see it, which finally we made that happen. I also kept seeing content of you, actually, on Instagram, because you always tag us on Novritsch. So I saw, okay, there is a community. Also, we send products there, which is distributed by Airsoft Pro. Yesterday I played a game, and it was great. The CQB venue was really big, really nice. Yeah. Players were fair play, no issues whatsoever. And I also saw how dedicated people are. Like they were, even though it was a very casual game during the week for only like 1-2 hours, people still took the time to really put on the play carrier and their ear pro and their helmets. So that's not something that I'm used to seeing in a casual CQB game.
I think to wear the all like a full kit for us, it's like a simple. It's like obligatory. If you're not full of kit, you just something will go wrong. You maybe forget it in the home or in the office. So definitely, I think that Kazakhstan have like its own charm, let's say, or style. But comparing with maybe in other countries of Europe or so, how many countries did you visit with playing airsoft?
In the world, or?
Yeah, in the world.
Maybe
10, 20?
25 maybe, yeah. Maybe more. Yeah. A lot.
Comparing what maybe some good sides of Kazakhstan and maybe some that you didn't understand or didn't like much more.
Good side is that, I've heard there are some tensions between certain teams. But I did not really see that in the game yesterday. It felt very, very friendly. I didn't see anyone shouting around. I don't speak the language, obviously, yeah. But I didn't have the impression that people come to the Airsoft game and look for conflict, Because in certain nations I did see that, where they go to the game and in the end some people leave super offended and pissed and they got into some argument, and that's just so unnecessary because we all play dress up as soldiers and we play BB Wars. It's a game just for fun. There's nothing to lose, nothing to win. We do it for the fun of it. So there's really no reason to get into a fight.
Yeah. We have in Kazakhstan like the airsoft is a game of friends. Yeah. So it's kind of our philosophy, the culture around this message, and we try to, for those who are like coming just new players, we are just translating them that there are no place for the conflicts or maybe like your expectations. That's your expectation. Just play, just chill, and have a good time.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, and so let's talk about the airsoft content. I think you're number one. You have 5 million subscribers in YouTube. Yeah, and I saw that Novritsch has made a significant impact to the airsoft content through the engaging, also the educational materials are a lot of, and maybe how you can be interested if we will to help you to spread the word about the Novritsch products on the Russian language.
I don't really know about the YouTube content that's offered in Russian, but just look for what's missing. Is there any guides on how you get into airsoft, Because I think for Kazakhstan, it should really be the goal to grow this community, because it's a massive country. You have lots of land, which is, you have the possibility to create amazing big scale games, right? But yet I was told that maybe in Kazakhstan are around, I think, 3,000 to 4,000 active airsoft players. Like there was an estimation that someone told me. And I think there's a lot more potential. Yeah, there's a lot more potential. And in order to introduce people to the sport, you need to create it in the language that is spoken. You don't need to, yeah, but I would appreciate if people make it easier for newcomers to get into the sport, right? So that involves, what do you need to get in the beginning? And this is also market dependent, right? You might watch an American video about which guns you should get, but maybe these are not available in your country, right? Or maybe their prices are completely different because the distribution works different. So just telling people what's good to start with, where can you go, who can you talk to? Because I don't know exactly, but I think Kazakhstan Airsoft is what Austrian Airsoft was about seven years ago. Yeah. So there was not really Airsoft fields as a business. It's people who, they have a main job already, and they also run an Airsoft field, right? Yeah. And what that usually brings is that these fields don't have a store. These fields often don't have rental gear. or they don't have a website where it's easy to find them, right? It's kind of community driven. And if you already play Airsoft, it's totally fine. It's amazing, yeah. And I really appreciate that people do fields. But for someone who gets new into the sport, it's incredibly difficult, right? They maybe see a YouTube video, maybe they Google it, they don't find a field website, they cannot get rental gear. They kind of need to know someone who introduced them into the sport. And this is so many barriers that stops people from getting into the sport. Yeah? So I would create content to just grow this community.
Yeah, I also, as like a new player, when I come, I just face the same problems, and that's why I think I started to do my blog, because to spread the word about the airsoft, what like facilities we do have, what playgrounds are here, and also like distributing the information where and when the open game for any, like you just freelancer, you can come and join us, the whole, and also I want to just. So as a part of my, let's say, mission is also to motivate another airsoft players to do content and to share it in Instagram maybe, or in YouTube, yeah, because it's very important. But somebody says that who will care about my, I don't know, my way, or how I will play another one. But I don't think that your such kind of experience of doing the content that could be a great example of that. You need to do it if you like it. You need to do it and to just keep going, and we will see the result very soon.
It's definitely that social media was a major driving factor in expanding the sport to a very international sport and to bring the international community to the size that it is right now. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, also VKontakte, also the Russian side of the social media, I think played a massive role in growing the sport. I think many people, they might see a video that's being made in Europe, right? And they maybe don't even think, I can also do this in Kazakhstan. They think, these people in Europe have so much fun. I wish I could also do this. And then it kind of dies there. But if they can put Kazakhstan Airsoft into YouTube and they find content of, this is actually in Almaty, this is actually in Astana or in Oktober, then they know, okay, there's actually a place where I can go. So I do think it's very important that there's content being made locally.
And about the locally, so as you can see, we are taking the much attention to all the gears, and some guys we have teams that are trying to copy the actual, not actual that was in history, like a law enforcement, special forces, or another one, and they keep in the kit list that very similar, or maybe like not 100%, but 90%, and they're also asking the questions about the the replicas that very similar to real firearms. And maybe you have like a vision about it, and what Novritsch can suggest for such kind of airsoft players.
On how to create a good kit, or
including the equipment. I know that you created the I don't know how it is, the camouflage, your own like a pattern also, and including the your replica. So I personally use the SSR4, and that's great for me. But for some teams, they say that it's not so copying 100% copying. Yeah.
Well, for us as a company, we don't, to be quite frank, we don't do these things actually, because out there is, 200 Airsoft brands, right? Or let's say at least 100 brands that give input into manufacturing products, right? 100 brands that you can buy from. And many brands, I feel like, because they're not players, it's a factory in Asia and they want to make products. What they do is they basically look at, okay, what do real arms manufacturers make? And they just copy it one to one, right? This is their place, and they definitely needed by the community. It's also very demanded. But where we are going as a company is actually quite the opposite way, yeah? Because our company is mostly made from players, especially in the engineering teams. And when you look, for example, at an SSB5, it doesn't even reassemble. I mean, from afar, it still looks like a firearm. But when you look a bit closer, this couldn't even be a firearm anymore. The red dot sits too low. You couldn't even drive a bullet through this barrel anymore. It has a split slide on a 2011, which doesn't even exist. But as players, we are more like, what would be more efficient? What could make me a better player? What would be lighter? What would be, what would make more sense for me? So while now we still have some replicas that are like the SG96 is very close to the Arctic Warfare, right? But we're going more and more away from this, and we're creating more kind of our own twist on a platform. Like when you look at our AK, it's not a replica of a certain AK, right? If you want a replica of a certain AK, there's many brands you can fall back to. Yeah? But this is just not what we do. We have our own ideas and we kind of say, I would like to have it like this, I would like to have a falling stock. I would like to have it a little bit more lightweight. Or like on SP5, I would like to have my red dot so low in the gun that I can use my iron sights and my red dot at the same time while not having raised sights. Well, it's not realistic, but if it makes me a better player, if this gun is now more efficient, I'm totally going for this compromise. Yeah.
Okay, I see. So the SSG 96s came from the Counter-Strike?
Yeah. The reason why, so this is, I think, one of the exceptions because it's very close to the real steel firearm, right? And the reason why we made it is because there's just no good one, right? People just kept asking, hey, I like the L96 platform, but everything that's out there is kind of, I mean, for the price that you pay, they're good, but there's no high-end one, right? So even though it's not that much our design language anymore, we still said, you know what? We have to give the community a good L96 that they can just take and play with. So that's the result. But also here, it's not 100% realistic anymore. Like obviously this, like when you look at that hop-up adjustment, that's not realistic, right? So here's this thing that shouldn't be on a real firearm, but yet we still said, I don't want an Allen key from the bottom to adjust this. It's way too tedious. I want something that's fast and that's functional, that's very accurate. And for this, we want a straight moving knob on top of the hop-up. And we want quick access with gloves. And yeah, it doesn't look realistic, but we want to build a gun that shoots good and that's nice to use rather than making a one-to-one replica.
Okay. So you said that you're like a developing team, the technical guys, they are also Airsoft players.
Yes, actually, in the development team, every single person is an Airsoft player.
Okay, so they like 100%. They understand what they do and how they will. So that kind of decisions, technical decisions, will influence the game, the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. And they have to play with it. I demand that the people who develop the products need to play with this product, right? And I think you notice, right, when you bought an Airsoft gun and you play with it for the first time, you go like, this doesn't make sense, right? The battery installation is kind of, the hop-up adjustment is, And now imagine you could influence this product. Imagine you could say, you know what, I'm going to change this part actually. This is not going to wobble anymore. The battery installation is going to be much easier. So creating this feedback of player to actual factory, I think this is also where our company is quite unique. Because many products are produced in China. They are designed by Chinese engineers. But Airsoft is actually illegal in China. So these people make products that, of course, they talk with people in the West and they ask for opinions, but it's never the same as I am the product manager of this product that I'm playing with, and everything that I don't like about it, I can change like this. Yeah.
So we call it in like a startup culture is the custom development. So when you take in the 100% feedback and just improving the product the whole time. Yeah, now I see. And that personally, I do like the about the warranty on your products. That's really, for me, it's a matter, because when you buy any another product here in Kazakhstan, it just you pay the money, you take the item, that's totally your 100% your problem if it's broken from the box. But all your products, you given the warranty. So what is behind it?
I think it's the frustration of me, of a player, because I bought, one example would be I owned a Marui Glock 18C, right? And Marui has great innovation, great quality. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think it's amazing. And especially if you live in Japan, you're going to have an amazing experience using Marui, right? Because you will get spare parts, everything is available. But I used green gas on my Glock, which you shouldn't do in a Marui gun. The hammer broke. And now I'm here with a broken Glock, and I say, okay, I would like to have this exact part, not a CNC steel one, and I don't want a, machined aluminum one. I want this exact part because the company who developed this did a lot of testing, and I know if it's an original part, it's gonna hopefully last again for a long time, right? But there's no spare part availability, so I have to go into forum and I have to research, right? Oh, there's a steel hammer. Okay, let me install the steel hammer. Okay, great. Now the steel hammer eats away my triggers here, right? Okay, now I change the triggers here. Okay, now I see my steel hammer is now eating into my blowback unit, right? Oh, now I have to change the blowback unit. So it's this vicious circle of, if it's not the original spare part, you cannot just change this one part to another manufacturer. You kind of have to change the whole pistol, right? And you really, I mean, at this point, I know how to do these things, right? But when you do it for the first time, it's extremely frustrating. So for me, it was very important that, and we did this on the very first gun that we made, on the SG24, you could literally build the gun from spare parts. Yeah. So no matter if something breaks or you lose it when you take it apart, and we all like to take, or most people like to take the things apart and take a look how they function. Maybe they can improve something. Everyone lost this one spring where you go like clack, and it's like don't move. Where is it? And then you crawl on the ground with a flashlight trying to look for that spring. Yeah, and it's extremely frustrating if you don't find it anymore, and then you have to bend your own spring, and you will never find it in the aftermarket world. And if you find it, it's 120% spring, so it changes the whole system again. So I wanted original spare parts from the manufacturer of the actual gun, available.
Yeah, that's why I didn't buy the high kappa from Tokyo Marui, because for me, high kappa is obvious that when you buy it, you didn't buy the GBB pistol, you buy like an idea and the construction, because the whole parts of the Tokyo Marui high kappa could be removed from another production. Yeah. So the slide, I don't know, some out barrel, inner barrel, another one. And when you buy like a high kappa, you just buy the idea and how it's constructed, because totally 100% of its parts could be replaced with another one. And even now, even at that moment, you cannot still guarantee that it will just send the BB as you want.
Yeah, for sure. Now, if you really like changing parts, and if you like to spend hours over hours teching and testing and trying, then don't buy a Novritsch product. Yeah. A Novritsch product is, I want to play and I just want to buy it, take it out of the box, and I want to play with it. And if something breaks down the line, I get the exact right part, I put it inside, and the gun functions again, right? This is the customer experience of a Novritsch gun. If you say, I want to make it my own, I'm on a higher budget, I don't care spending a lot of money on tuning parts, and I want to try this and I want to try that, don't buy a Novritsch product there. There's, I think for this, Marui is still, I think, the golden standard, because the most upgrade manufacturer, they stick to this standard, so you can change everything. Yeah. So that's not what we're trying to do.
I think they have like a wrong experience about not experience, like a philosophy of the company, and they are trying to be the trendsetters for the whole airsoft industry. But for example, for me, it's their decisions and let's say products are not so obvious, and sometimes we're just thinking who will play with replicas. But maybe for those market that they are spreading, it's okay.
For Japan, if you go to Japan, they dominate the market so hard. Like everyone is running a Marui gun. Yeah? But then you go to Europe and I haven't seen a Marui AG in a long time. Yeah? In Europe, you don't see them anymore. But that's not because they're bad, but it's just not built for our market. I think I would be surprised to see Marui products in Kazakhstan. I don't think they're popular either. Just because you have to change most of it. If you want to run it over one tool, it just doesn't function.
I think the most popular product here is a high kappa.
Yeah, high kappa. It's a tuning platform, usually. Yeah.
And as I can see, the whole industry, so like the American guys, so the HPA systems, I mean, here's the Polar Star, Wolverine doing so nice products. And what do you think about the HPA, your attitude to such kind of, engines? I understand that AG is the most affordable and accessible to all day, but maybe in future we will see the hybrids between the AGs and HPAs, and that will like a disruptive technologies that will push the whole industry of our airsoft games.
I have very mixed feelings about HPA. I understand the performance advantage, and I understand that if done correctly, they can run for a very, very long time with almost zero maintenance. But I still find it, there's this Airsofters journey, which I like to call it the Airsofters journey, which at some point in an Airsofters journey shows up HPA usually. Yeah? And the way I see it is that, so you start Airsoft and many make the mistake to buy a sniper rifle, let's say, right? As their first gun. Big mistake, yeah. Don't buy a sniper rifle as your first gun. Then at some point they change to an HE, and then they want to have lots of stuff on HE. They want a grenade launcher and a front grip and an amplifier and a magnifier, and they want a big vest, and then they add stuff, and at some point they even have a shovel on the side and a compass and knee pads and dummy night vision. They buy all of this crap and they have all of this stuff. And then at some point they realize, actually I don't need all of this, it just makes me slower, right? Then they start to remove stuff, they get more minimalistic, they only have a chest rig. At some point they then usually switch to HPA, if they have the money, yeah. They switch to HPA. They really like it, but still usually what I've been observing, okay, then they play with HPA maybe like for a year, yeah. And they tell everyone how amazing it is. But then they actually switch back again to HE at some point, yeah. Then they say, yeah, I'm kind of tired of the hose and I always have to go somewhere to fill the tank. And yeah, I just want something simple, I plug it in the wall and I can play with it. And I feel like the end stadium of most players who play for a long time is usually very minimalistic. Like it's maybe a chest rig with 3 to 6 magazines, a very lightweight, quite short M4 with a red dot, and that's it, right? That's what I see in Austria at least, yeah. So HPA, again, I understand the appeal of it, yeah, that they can run forever, I can adjust everything. But the inconvenience for me kind of always killed it, yeah. When I give this to someone and say, hey, here, try HPA, and then the guy asks me, how do I charge the tank? And I have to tell him, oh yeah, you can drive to the firefighters and you can try to convince them to get it filled, or you can go to a scuba diving shop, if there's one nearby, yeah, if you live at the sea or at a lake. Maybe your airsoft field has one, but frankly speaking, most airsoft fields where I play, they actually don't have a station to fill HPA tanks. It depends on the field. If it's commercialized, yeah, if it's an actual business, yes, they have a compressor. But many airsoft fields in Europe are not commercialized. It's some guy who has an abandoned land with an abandoned factory on top, and you can just go play, right? And these people don't invest $1,000 into a HPA compressor, yeah. Not even talking about the maintenance cost that comes with such a compressor, and also the risk. And there's even when you look into the legality of it, like if you own such a compressor, there's quite some stuff that you have to do to be allowed to own such a compressor. Even if you provide this as a public service and you pressurize bottles, there's a lot of legislation around it that you're even allowed to do this. Like while you fill the bottle, you're actually not allowed to be in the same room, I believe. So if you fulfill all of these legislations, now it becomes this whole, okay, I need a separate room, I need to have all of these safety rules, I need to invest in the compressor.
Yeah, I see. But the HPAs are very popular in Speedsoft, as I can see.
Yes.
Do you follow the Speedsoft, the whole industry?
In Speedsoft, I understand it because, when you talk to a Speedsoft player, I think they fire up to, in an actual tournament, it can happen that in 1 weekend, one guy shoots 50,000 PBs, right? Because it looks like a paintball match, right? It's start and it just go like magazine change, and they have no, I think depends on the Speedsoft league, but on many Speedsoft league, there's no limitation how many magazines you can carry, right?
Yeah, as I know, and there are no limitations in SpeedQB and also in NSL.
Yeah, I think you're only allowed to have 150 rounds in your mag, but you can have 20 mags, right? And the rounds are extremely short. So the people in the rear of the game, they literally just fire, right? They just stand there and they don't stop even. Just next mag, right? And if you do that, okay, no HE in the world will be able to withstand that, right? So here I do see why people go with HPA, because if you have to bring 3 HEs to a league because they keep breaking and you lose games because your gun broke in the middle of the game, obviously go for HPA, yeah. But I think for the not competitive player who has, I don't know, at least 3-4 AHEs anyways that he keeps switching around, I do think that the convenience of an AHE of just, plug it in the wall, charge it, put the battery in, and you play. And also the reliability of AHEs has massively improved in the past, right? I think HPA many years ago was extremely popular because AHEs just broke all the time, right? They kept breaking, but right now, even if you buy a cheaper brand, like the level of what AHEs are right now for a very cheap price is incredible. Like you can buy an AHE for, let's say, 200 euros, and you will run it for a year or two before it even breaks.
honestly saying, before that meeting, I was thinking that your version, DSG version, SSR4, was for the competitive airsoft.
DSG, DSG, you mean? Yeah. Why? I mean, you can, of course, it's very appealing for the competitive airsoft, but you're not allowed to use full auto on competitive airsoft, you know. And I think on the DSG, I mean, obviously the semi response is super nice and very satisfying, but I think this gun shines very much on full auto, yeah, which you're not allowed to use in competitive airsoft. So I wouldn't say it's purely designed for competitive airsoft. It's for competitive airsoft on semi, but it's also just for the lols on auto, yeah. And we haven't really seen a reliable, mass-produced, affordable DSG in the market. So we just said, why, you know, people keep making DSGs themselves, and it's such a tedious process, you know, to make your own DSG. It's, you know, it's always called that the airsoft tech's holy grail. It's you know, you already build like 10, 20 different guns, and then the last most challenging build is going to be a DSG. You know, that's everyone wants to do this at some point. And I think here it's very similar to what we did with sniper rifles, because sniper rifles used to be really hard to make good. You need to be attacked in order to build one. And this we changed. And on the DSG, we also said, you know what? Some people want this, they don't know how to build it. Let's just mass produce a DSG.
We introduced the Novritsch brand to our community, which doing the competitive airsoft. We have like a long time period. I think they are doing like 8 years. During the 8 years, each year the competition among the teams from all over the Kazakhstan. So it's called the Black Ops Cup, and that was a very funny story. There was a guy from the team from Kyrgyzstan, and at that competition he bought the SSP5, I think. Yeah. He bought it and started to play, and they won this competition. They take the first place, and that was the highest, I think, let's say the highest mark for the products. And because he asked us, is it prepared for HPA? We said yes. Can I operate with a gas blowback? We said yes. He just tried a few BBs and see that the trajectory is that he expects, that he could use the heavy BBs also, and just take it and just won the competition.
SSP5 is, I think, especially for Speedsoft. I mean, we build it actually on the 6-inch first, right? And you are not allowed to use it in competition because it shoots too hard at 1.5 joules, at least in the competitions where we play.
Okay.
Yeah. I think in America it's a 1 joule limit on competition games. So yeah, it was actually, it had multiple purposes. One was on the 6-inch that you can go into a woodland game field and you can actually play against HE players, right? You have the range at least of an HE. You can shoot heavy B with you outrange most HEs even. And with the red you can make those precise shots. But then on the shorter versions, on the 4.3 and the 5.1, because it cycles so fast and it's quite accurate with the TDC, you can also use it in SpeedQB. Yeah.
And maybe do you have plans to support the community, maybe in Austria, maybe in Europe, on maybe like a competitive one, or just the whole community? I mean, the competitions, maybe some I don't know, some festivals or in other events, big events.
To create these events?
No, I mean just to take a part in them as a sponsors maybe, or to deliver some content or products, or what?
We never thought that much about it, but if companies approach us and ask, we will definitely think about it. We can consider it.
I think it's maybe it will be like a great example if you will create just fantasy about, you will create a team for Speedsoft called Novritsch, and we will take part in SpeedQB or the NSL.
Yeah, we could.
You know, this is the experience of the Formula One, where the Ferrari and different companies, they're just presenting their products, they're testing it in the sport, and then just bringing the new technologies and all the best experience to the mass product.
That's actually not a bad idea. I will think about it.
Yeah. So that just that you here Novritsch also supported like a competitive airsoft, and so guys, it was so many positive feedback about it, that it's doing out of the box, it's doing well. And so I think let's talk about more your future products. So can you share, if you can share maybe some insights that what you're preparing for this season, for this year, or maybe for the next year? what products we should expect?
I can't talk about all of them. I actually, on the drive here, I told you about some of them, but that's confidential. The reason why we don't disclose all products in advance is because we are aware that the industry starts looking at us and they say, oh, okay, he did this, cool, we can also do this, right? So for some products, we only show them once we actually release them. But what we did show already also at IAA is the SSP28. This is our take, because the SSP5 became so popular in the high kappa community. And I think the next most popular platform is the Glock platform. But I think no one really ever made a good split slide Glock. Like they split the slide, but I think it's not done the right way. So it's the SSP5 language, but on a Glock system. So you will have a full auto switch. It runs on, I think it goes up to 25 rounds per second.
Will have a full auto?
Yeah, it is full auto too. Yeah. There's gonna be a semi-only version for Germany, but if people want semi-only, they can also get it. There's also a select fire full auto. Yeah. And it's extremely lightweight. It has an aluminum blowback housing. It has an aluminum CNC slide, just like the SSP5. The rear side is polymer. The back plate is polymer. The selector switch is polymer. So it's extremely lightweight, the assembly. Yeah. So it's very, very snappy and very gas efficient.
So it could be as a second primarily weapon. So in the one line with the SSP5. Yeah.
I think if I would, the SSP5 is quite a heavy gun actually. You know, it's not light. When you touch it, it's like, oh, it's massive and really solid.
For me it's light. I do operate.
You think it's light?
SSP5, yeah. Not 6-inch version. The 5.1.
The 5.1 is okay. Yeah, the 5.1 is okay. But it's still bigger and heavier than a Glock base pistol with the polymer frame and everything. So for me, I would run the SSP28. It would be my primary of choice because I have the rate of fire if I need to get out of a complex situation, right? I will have the range with the TDC. I have the gas efficiency. I have the accuracy because of the fixed front part. But at the same time, it's small, it's compact, and it's lightweight, so I can easily carry it in a holster.
So what about the carbon kit for SSP28?
The SSP18 carbon kit will fit the 28 as well. Yeah? So you can also holster, which I think that makes it. That almost makes it's something that's in your holster, but you get the firepower of a primary almost. Yeah, you have incredibly high rate of fire. It will run also in colder temperatures because of the lightweight assembly. You have the accuracy, and with that folding stock, obviously, you have also the support to make it quite stable. Yeah.
And what about the carbon kit for the SSP5?
We are making it still. Yeah, we're making it still. I think it's now in pre-production. It hasn't really been a priority. Because we invested all of these resources into the 28, but now the 28 finished production and it's being shipped soon. So now we have more focus again on that carbon kit. But on that carbon kit also it will be more modular because I consider the SSP5 it's more primary than a secondary. So on that carbon kit you have the possibility of that very slick folding stock that we have right now. And also on the SSP5, if you make the barrel longer, you increase power. So you can make you could if you want. You can make a 3-joule semi-automatic gas DMR basically out of an SSP5. It's TDC, it's very accurate, it can hop heavy BBs, it shoots really powerful. And it's also not a DMR that kicks really hard and you lose your, it almost doesn't move in SSP5. So you can make these follow-up shots. It's going to be an interesting concept, yeah. You can make a minimal carbon kit out of it, but you can also build a rifle on it. And because the frame of the SSP5 is metal, you can also mount a front grip to it. And because the front doesn't move, you can even C-clamp the pistol actually. So it almost becomes it's pretty much a primary. Yeah.
Okay. And what about the non-Western types of the replicas? I mean the AK platform.
Yeah, we are working on an AK, which is now it's started mass production. I got the news actually today. Yeah, it's our take on the AK platform. It's going to be very, very solid. It's going to have a steel core. So everywhere where we believe steel is important. So that's the rear tronian, front tronian.
Especially for AK, yeah.
Front side block, yeah. Obviously the sheet metal is steel. Yeah. But we modernized it a lot, yeah. So when you look at it, it has like almost like SIG Air style folding stock. A little bit similar to this, but it's going to be metal. It's going to be from aluminum. So yeah, modern looking, very solid. Has a rotary hop up with just our twist on the AK platform.
So the magazines for the SSR 74 will be from another. Can I use from the another?
Yeah. It's very compatible. It's very compatible.
Okay. Right. Yeah, just because in this region, when they just see the news that Novritsch are preparing the AKs, it was just mess. They're all waiting. When we need it now. Yeah. Because
I hope. I ran it already a couple times. I ran some IPC courses with it, which is also something we do before production. We always, of course, we play games with it, but we also run IPC courses with it because you shoot the gun a lot and you really see how is it two-wheeled. And I really enjoyed this gun. I think it's very nice to play with.
Oh, you mentioned IPC, so do you practice the real firearm?
No. Interestingly, I don't have much to do with real firearms. Yeah, I used to when I was at the military, but my fascination is really with toy guns. Yeah, I can appreciate the beauty of real guns. Yeah, and I like how they function, and I keep I'm always I think very updated on what's new in the firearms industry. But I don't really shoot them. When I can choose between, if you put on a table a real gun and an airsoft gun, and here's a real steel firearms range, and here's an IPC airsoft range, I will always pick the airsoft side. Yeah. I just like toy guns more.
So you mentioned you served in the army.
Yes.
And when it was, and so the airsoft was before the military service or after?
I played before the army already. When I was in the army, I actually stopped playing because it was a bit too much already. If you lie in the forest in your whole equipment with a 40-kilogram backpack, you don't want to come home and then play airsoft, right? Yeah. So I stopped playing in this 1 year that I was in the army. But afterwards, I missed it again. Yeah. I think that's what it is for most people. Yeah, and I started playing again.
Did airsoft help you, or vice versa, the military service?
I think it's very funny. I think it makes it worse actually. I think when you're in the military, you learn, especially because I did a sniper training, a sharpshooter training. What you learn there has nothing to do with it. You learn how to read wind, you learn how to read distances and to do your calculations, how you
all
place
the physics, how the bullets.
You learn camouflage at 500 meters. You don't learn camouflage at 10 meters. You learn how to conceal yourself from thermo optics and all of this. You move incredibly slow. It's like you want to go 50 meters. It takes you a day to move these 50 meters because if you have to get into position. I think it has nothing to do with airsoft, right? So I also felt like, after the army, I'm gonna fucking kill it at the field. But the reality was that I feel like I became worse of an airsoft player with the army, yeah. And I had to relearn again. Okay, my gun only shoots this far, and it's a very fast game. It's very active. So yeah, so much for that.
Yeah, because we have also players who came from the military service and they're doing the. And I think that we have actually who are still in the army, but they're practicing for them. It's more like a fun. Yeah, playing the airsoft.
I can imagine if you are trained in CQB in the military, maybe it helps, yeah. But the reality of a sniper on the combat field, yeah, versus airsoft is just, it's ridiculous, right? It has nothing to do with each other.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think is so? Could airsoft help somehow to the military? I think just like the fantasy mind. If, for example, military services will take the Novritsch products to use them for the training simulation.
It's actually something we want to avoid as a company, but we constantly run into these issues. So it's a company statement and a mission that we don't want to participate in the war industry, right? I never want to see a Novritsch product on a soldier because we do it for the fun of it. Yeah? We want to make fun stuff for people to enjoy. Yeah? I never want to create an incentive where I think, okay, war actually benefits me as a business, right? But still, we recently saw in the Fremdenlegion in France, the army, they were using our helmet covers, for example. So They approached us. We said, no, we don't sell it to you. But they started creating different accounts and they just bought it on Novritsch.com, right? They like under 10 different accounts, they always bought 3 helmet covers here, 3. And now you see it on their promotion material. Yeah. Which is really not what we want, but that happened.
I read that all your gears are like a camouflage the pattern developed from the ex-military.
Yes. So many of the people that we have in the company are ex-military. But nevertheless, we really want to stay away from this industry. Yeah. It's fun toys to have fun with. Yeah, it's not something to go.
I mean, your products are not designed or developed with the marketing guys. They develop with the professionals who understand what he's doing and how it will be operating during the game.
But the issue is still that some of the products that we have are quite unique in the market. Like for example, the camouflage covers for the guns. No other company makes these actually. You cannot get an AR-15 3D leaf cover, right? So yeah, we run into issues where armies just buy, and again undercover. They make accounts and just buy like 5 here and 5 there, and then they use it. Yeah, we haven't found a way yet to avoid this.
So what do you think is airsoft is more for the boys, or is a place for girls? How is it running in Austria about the?
I think it depends on the country. So I said Kazakhstan airsoft is similar to what airsoft was in Austria about 7 years ago, right? Or what airsoft is in, let's say, Slovakia or Czech Republic. I think the issue really is that I think women have much higher standards than men when it comes to bathroom, where they can change their clothes, Because a guy is kind of like, I need to pee. Okay, over there's a tree. Okay, I just go, right? That's the reality. Yeah? That's the reality of the sport and the community that we live in.
We're like a Spartans.
Yeah, exactly. Now ask a girl to pee in the forest, right? Just gonna say, if I even ask her, do you come? One of the first questions is, okay, is there a changing room? First, is there a bathroom? If the answer is no, I'm not coming, right? So in Austria, now slowly we're getting there. Yeah, fields have toilets, finally. Fields have changing rooms, finally. It's very funny that we even have to talk about this, but the bar is really low in airsoft. And I think we as players, we kind of accept it because we're really excited about the game. And if I have to pee in the forest, I don't care, right? I mean, I couldn't care less. But I think that's one of the biggest barriers for a girl in airsoft. Yeah? Who wants to undress in front of 80 guys and get into your airsoft gear, right? You don't want to do that. So I think this is where the issue lies. But when you look in countries like Japan, where airsoft has a long history, it's very developed. You go to the field, you have showers. Yeah, there's an actual shower. It's like a gym, You have a locker, you have a shower, you have a changing room, you have a proper toilet. And I would say in Japanese airsoft, don't nail me down on it, but I think the field was maybe 15% girls. Yeah, 15%. When you go to Austria, we maybe at maybe 3%, Okay. Yeah, but we are slowly getting there. So if you want girls, you have to develop the infrastructure for the women.
So you said about the all the toilets, the bathroom, etc. And I just thinking about the Dark Emergency Festival, Airsoft Festival. Yeah, they're doing right. Well, I saw your video, and there was a conversation about the swimming pool, and that if they install the swimming pool, they need to invite the specialist who will measure the quality of the water.
I mean, that's Germany. Germany is just Germany, Germany obviously brought this to the top again of paperwork. I don't think that's needed, You don't need to. I appreciate what Nick from Dark Emergency is doing. I think he's doing an amazing job. But man, Germany makes his life really hard with all the rules and all the stuff he has to follow. Yeah, it's really not easy.
Any other events that keep in your mind that need you? So if you are let's say, professional airsoft player, you need to visit worldwide, maybe.
Yeah. What was my favorite place, or what do you mean?
Yeah, or maybe like a place. Let's say the most free welcome airsoft players. Let's say countries that are very easy to come with a airplane. That's not so hard.
The easiest. I would even say Austria is one of them actually. So in Austria, our joule output their limit is extremely high, like it's airgun limit. I can have full auto, it's in the middle of Europe, everything's very well regulated, no corruption and stuff like this. So I think Austria is one of the places that has very little regulation regarding to airsoft, because in the US you need a red tip, for example. In Japan it needs to be under 1 joule. In Hong Kong it needs to be under 2 joules. In China it's completely illegal. On some countries it's gray zone. So if you show up at the airport with an airsoft gun, sometimes they let you through. Sometimes they think it's illegal, right? So I think friendly, let's say airsoft friendly customs, I think Austria is actually one of the better ones. It's very easy there too. You can fly with an airsoft gun to the country. You can exit the country with an airsoft gun.
And that in that list of countries that you visited, what you will recommend to visit or to travel to play the airsoft? So the Austria, I think the Japan, United States.
I would say one of the most unique airsoft experiences you can get are in Japan, because it's the oldest one, the most developed, and so Japanese airsoft players don't cheat. They have such a pride in what they do. I mean, Japanese culture is just is a whole different story, but they have a lot of pride in being an airsoft player, and being called a cheater, you lose your face as a Japanese player. I mean, Japanese history, right? I mean, the Japanese do all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's really ingrained in the culture to not cheat. So it's a very fair, gentleman, very civilized airsoft game. No one's shouting, no one. It's a lot to learn from the Japanese.
And did you see the oldest airsoft player there? How oldest, maybe like 15 years he was?
I didn't play enough, actually. I only played 2 airsoft games in Japan, but I talked to people of the local community, also people who are American and are now living in Japan, and they said it's night and day. Yeah. In America, you have, as in many other countries, you have people getting into arguments and shouting at each other, and it's sometimes people get way too competitive and toxic. That also goes for Europe. I'm not pointing fingers at Japan. This is me pointing fingers at the whole airsoft community, because in many communities it is like this. But man, in Japan, this is apparently not a thing. Yeah, people do not get into arguments.
And maybe like the countries that you not recommend to play airsoft.
A country where I don't recommend to play airsoft. That would be China, or maybe North Korea.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like it will be challenging. So you said that in Germany it's only semi-auto. Okay, and what about the airsoft in Australia?
Australia, it's also illegal to my understanding. They have gel which they also made illegal in Queensland now. So in Australia, they're really cranking down on what they call.
So I heard that
game.
Canadian guys are going to the United States to play airsoft.
Yeah, they do, but I think that's mostly because in Canada, I don't even know the reason why exactly, but in Canada it doesn't seem to be very well developed, airsoft. Yeah. For how wealthy this country is and how much land they have, airsoft is quite small actually. Dayton is a good friend of mine. Dayton, a house gamer, Dayton border. He talks about fields closing down. Now the government almost banned airsoft, and that I think made many businesses very conservative. They stopped buying products because they were kind of afraid that once that legislation gets signed, they have to trash their products, right? Sorry. So I've never played in Canada, but judging by the GDP of Canada, how much money these people have, plus the land that they have, there should be actually a massive community. So I don't know exactly why it's not like this.
Yeah, interesting. So can I ask you maybe for the who are watching, what airsoft bloggers you are watching, and just keeping eyes what they do?
Who am I watching? I think everyone, honestly. I think everyone. It's still part of my daily routine to just kind of like, what's going on YouTube? What does, some airsoft blogs. So I think I have my eyes, and I think I have to, not just because it interests me, but I also need to understand the market. What do people desire right now? What's the cool new stuff? Where is cool games that I can go to? Yeah.
Okay. So I personally look for, and he subscribed also for me, and sometimes he likes my post. The Alphonse Airsoft from the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the Defro from the Japan. Defro, he also running the podcast. Yeah, and I'm looking for this dessert Jet Fox.
Jet Desert Fox, huh?
Yeah. So do you plan any like? I saw the SSP5 presentation. So you make a invited, and so I think I needed to say it in the end, but I will say because I did not forget it. How can I get the invitation to your to the presentation of your product?
We haven't done one in a long time, but I actually want to do one again. How? Or I mean, if you're an influencer, which you are, and you write us, you say, hey, you want to come, then obviously you're invited. I mean, we on the SP5 event, I think we contacted all influencers we knew, and we said, if you want to come, you're invited. Please come. I think on the next one, it will be similar. We want to do one this summer, actually, a launch event. For some very cool sniper rifle. Yeah, get excited. Bit of a different product.
Mm-hmm. So you spoiled the new product, yeah?
Yeah, but it's not a spring powered sniper rifle. It's different. Yeah, I think it's very interesting.
Okay. So any like recommendations maybe to how to grow community inside our country, or maybe to make the Kazakhstani community more closer to another one? And what do you think, is it the Airsoft community or the world, we have more similarities than the differences?
I'm always surprised how similar Airsoft communities are actually. Obviously, they have their small details where they're different. Yeah, I think on the Kazakh Airsoft community, the AK platform is more popular. Yeah. I told you that people gear up a lot more, but overall, no matter where I go, people, if they get hit, they raise their hand and they shoot each other, and there's team deathmatch, and there's, I think also with social media, it gets globalized basically. Everyone watches the same videos, everyone gets the same idea of what you can do with an airsoft gun. So, yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. I think it's just about the so promoting the airsoft through the Instagram
became very difficult. Yeah.
Complicated.
I haven't found the answer to this myself, and actually I'm a little bit scared for the airsoft community, because I feel like when you ask someone 3 years ago, how did you get into the sport? They will say, I saw a video on YouTube, right? And I was interested, so I joined it. Now social media is cranking, especially American social media, American controlled social media is cranking down really hard on everything firearm related, which Airsoft is part of that. And I'm a bit scared for social media kind of repressing Airsoft, yeah, just limiting the reach of it, and what used to bring people into the sport is no longer active, right? So who brings people into the sport? I have no answer to it, and I hope it will be still word of mouth, and there will be new channels on how people get into Airsoft. But I am a bit afraid that the community will shrink actually because of this.
Maybe is the top airsoft bloggers need to invite Mark Zuckerberg to play airsoft, just to say, Mark, okay, we are.
It's gonna be very hard to convince this guy. Yeah, I think they have their own agenda.
Yeah. Because also we here in Kazakhstan, we face the same problems in the Instagram when it's just partly a banned content, but we write all the texts that it's a fake, it's a replica, and for us it's become a little bit complicated just to promote, and we are looking for the alternative platforms to distribute the content.
I think it's a bit scary almost, because so American social media is cranking down, even though America as a country is one of the most pro-gun countries, right? Yet still the Silicon Valley companies are more left-wing, and push a lot on this. And now you have other very popular social medias that come from China, like TikTok. It's even worse there, right? The country itself is not pro-gun, let alone the social media of the country. I mean, they are super anti-gun. So if it's the most pro-gun country social media that don't allow it, yeah, I'm afraid that no matter where the social media will come from, it will always be worse than from the United States, because in the United States, they already love guns a lot, right? Yet, it's still not allowed on social media.
Yeah. So in my feed, I also check some channels very popular that all around the real firearms, and see all these photos and I think did you see the Garant Tam? Maybe YouTube show also here do well, and also he takes part in the American Milsim
He did,
games here,
which is very beneficial for the sport. Yeah, definitely, it's a lot of exposure for the sport. Yeah, I mean, YouTube is still, I think, very gentle on airsoft content. There's, of course, the demonetization problem, but on YouTube, people get still massive reach. So not yet, but when I look at the trends of Instagram and Facebook, Google as a company, when you look at advertisement, you cannot run Google ads on airsoft guns, for example. So it shows you kind of the values of the company, and YouTube belongs to Google. So I think it's also a question of time that maybe YouTube starts cranking down on this as well more.
So I can say that all the digital marketing instruments are a little bit limited for the airsoft industry.
Yes, unfortunately. Twitter I think Twitter could become the new platform for airsoft. Twitter and X.
Yeah. So, and the question about the how do you see now, or maybe you're thinking about it, how to monetize such kind of airsoft content?
Monetizing airsoft content. This is a flashback to 6 years ago when I was an influencer. I think this is an advice to all people out there. Don't try to make money being an airsoft influencer. Yeah. It's incredibly hard. Incredibly hard. When Novritsch was by far the biggest social media in airsoft out there, which it was, because right now many channels are at our size when it comes to reach. But let's say 5 years ago, it was undoubtedly we were the biggest channel in the industry, right? Yet monetizing it was very, very difficult. If you go to an airsoft company and you say, "Hey, I really like your product. I would play with it. Could you, I don't know, give me a couple $100 each month? I will tell people what I'm using." No chance. It's so incredibly difficult to make a living out of airsoft content. It's very, very difficult. So become an airsoft influencer for the fun of it, or maybe you want to help the community, grow the community, but with the incentive of making money, that's the wrong path. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult.
Okay, I will think about it this evening. So now you want another side of this, barricades. Now you are a big airsoft brand, let's say, and if somebody will come to you, how you can contribute to him
to help an influencer. I mean, what we do is we provide the guns for free, obviously. If the person says, "Hey, I want to bring it to a certain game, it's this milsim, I will play with this gun. Can you maybe help me out with going to the game ticket and all of this?" We cover it as well. But frankly speaking, the airsoft is a small industry, right? We are not a smartphone company. We are not a car manufacturer, right? We don't have millions of dollars to spend on marketing. So this is not even a problem of the behavior of airsoft companies, but this is literally a financial reason. You just cannot say, "Okay, here's, I don't know, $10,000 to make a video." Airsoft companies just don't have that money.
Any maybe exhibitions or events that you will plan to visit this year?
We're always at IAA. SHOT Show, I think we go every 2-3 years, not every year, because it's quite far. We have to bring all the people out there. Where else? Dark Emergency, we're there. South Africa on the game Airsoft X, they call it. We will be. I'm also planning to go to the US again, maybe this year actually. Spend a few weeks there. I really want to see how the Speedsoft community developed, because for me it's a community that makes a lot of noise. But yet when I go to an airsoft field, there's maybe 1 out of 100 people doing it. So it feels to me that it seems very big, but it's actually very small. But people say in the US it's a lot bigger. So I just want to see it with my own eyes, how it developed. Because I played airsoft the last time in the US 2 years ago. let's see, maybe it changed.
So, as I know, in Netherlands, it will be the NSL Nations Cup. We will take part around 16 countries from the Europe, I think from the United States, and it will be like a, let's say, big competition in the speed soft. And it will be in July, I think. Yeah, it's maybe like a opportunity to also to yeah, and then I also want to and planning to visit such kind of games because they have like a different leagues. So they're like among the nations and the pro series, and for those who just trying their possibilities to be the real sport person here in Speedsoft. Yeah, and hopefully, I think that maybe sometimes the Speedsoft or like as Airsoft or some kind type will be like Olympic Games.
Hopefully, that would solve the social media issue. You know, we would have exposure in the Olympics. That would be good.
Christoph, thank you for sharing your ideas, your insights about your products. I really learned a ton, knew about how you do your products. That was me for surprisingly that all your team members who are developing such kind of products, they are also airsoft players. That's really matters for me because we are on the same wave, on the same vibes, and that's I think very important when the products are doing not the marketing guys but also like professionals who understand what they're doing. And thank you for supporting the community of Kazakhstan, because for us it's very important. We think that it will be like another point for us, for point to growth, to make more, let's say, videos, make more games, events, etc. And hope this year or next year I will also visit the Austria and your office and your shop, and will once again spread the word about the Novritsch company to all the Russian speaking my community, I mean, say, my followers. And this is again for me it's a big honor to be here to talk, to just to discuss the big, I think, and small, very let's say personal topic of the airsoft, because for us it's a for me it's a hobby, for you just like a business of the whole life.
Well, thanks then for having me. Maybe also a few last words to the Kazakh community. I think what's very important is don't take airsoft too seriously. Like it's in the end we're all playing dress up and we are shooting with BB guns, with toy guns, you know, at each other's. It's a game just for the fun of it. So chill, everyone. Yeah, have fun. Go out there. Try to grow the sport. Try to really bring people into the community. And yeah, just understand that the bigger this community gets, the more fun you can have, because with more people comes more money for the sport, and more money for the sport means cooler fields, cooler events, more availability for product. Yeah, so just really, you know, get up and try to follow the same goal of growing the sport, yeah, in Kazakhstan. Not just to get better fields, better products and everything, but also the bigger you get as a community, the more leverage you have towards governments and stuff. So if new legislations will come, you are a big, strong, powerful community who has a say. You know, politicians don't want to lose their votes. Obviously, if you are a massive community, you have more power in influencing what's happening in regard to your sport in this country.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. And by the way, leave your comments on below this video, and do not forget to subscribe, of course, to the Novritsch channel and to my channel. Yeah, so thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for having me.